Hey there, welcome to video 8, part of our bonus video series as part of our Falling in Love with Sales program. We're so excited you're here. You made it to the end. How wonderful. Me and Win have had, or Win and I have had so much fun doing these videos, and we've hoped they've been as useful to you as they have been to Win and I's making them. Because every time we make these videos, we also see something new. So I'm going to get to the point. The final video, video 8, is about resilience and wisdom in challenging moments. And for this video, Win and I are going to tell you about a live, or no, I'm going to tell you about a case study that actually happened not too long ago. And it was Win and I on the same call with these two potential clients. So I'm going to let Win start off the story and we'll go from there.
So you knew the two people. I'd not met them before, and the four of us got together on Zoom.
Right. So,
One
yeah,
of them was in the Middle East, one was in Bangkok, you in Bangkok or just
yeah.
outside it, and me here in the UK. What were you about to say?
So I realized I could give that context, right? So for context, I had done a 2 day, what would you call it when like a corporate strategy alignment session where I talked about how their state of mind worked and how to listen deeply, and I guided them from that place to talk about their goals, their vision, their company culture for the year ahead. And it was the first time this company had done this, and they probably had about 40 people in the room, only with their top people. And I saw something fresh. I saw that, wow, the top two guys, they could really use some time with Win in a 2 day personal private retreat to really go even deeper in their connection with themselves. And it came from me pointing that, the higher you want to go, the deeper you need to go, the more the connected you need to be. And so I invited these two gentlemen on a call with Win and I, and I'm going to let Win take it from here.
Yeah. So the more senior of the two was a very, I think, doubting everything that we'd say. And not that we were presenting much because we did an awful lot more asking and listening than otherwise. But when it came to you and I suggesting something, and then the one guy was, well, I don't know. I mean, I've had therapy in the past. Geez, I think my sister's a therapist these days. I don't really know. I've been like, it's never done anything for me. So anything that you do, that sounds like therapy, bit woo woo rubbish, right? Pretty much. And I was, it had been very easy for me to get um, put off by that, to get in my head about it. But I just got curious because it was very apparent to me that this person was living in a very busy mind. And he was so troubled by three things that were happening in his work life. Well, two in his work life and one at home, which I'm not going to go into detail. But it was obvious to me that his mind was burdened. So I said, well, yeah, you might have done that, but here's what's possible that you've not yet noticed is that you don't need to have any of this burden on your mind. You could live in a burden-free mind regardless of what's going on in your life. And he didn't even flinch to say that's a load of nonsense. That's impossible. You can't do that. I went, well, I've been doing this for 12 years. I've been coaching people for 25 in the last 12 years. I specialize in the exact same thing. So I understand that you might not believe me, but I've seen it too many times in my own life and in everyone else I've worked with to doubt that. And it was really cool to notice because I remember you and I had the debrief afterwards going, how did you keep calm there? You were so like easy going with it. Well, because I didn't get in my head, I didn't feel attacked. I just knew that it was his thinking that he was up against. And I don't have to be up against anything. I can just remain centered regardless of what's going on. He then asked, how much would it cost for each of us to do a two-dayer, right? And I gave him the price, and he said, well, that's a lot more than we charge in our consultancy fees to our businesses. And I said, well, it would be. Because if you're bringing us in as the experts, wouldn't you expect that to be more than you would charge yours? And it did take him back about my kind of like confidence with that. And I remember you and I talking about it a bit afterwards and laughing about how did you have that answer? Well, I didn't have to pre-plan it. It's just obvious to me. That was real-time intelligence in the moment. That if you were a dentist, you wouldn't go and find a bad one to work on your teeth. You'd find the best one that you knew. Same deal. Same deal. So that's what I remember about that conversation and how it relates to resilience and wisdom in potentially challenging moments, but to me, they weren't particularly challenging. They were just really good questions that someone can have when they're in their head.
Yeah. I wish I could say I was as calm and collected and had great diction and timbre as Win Morgan during that call. Even though I didn't say anything, my mind was going like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I'm full like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Like what? Like what? Yeah, like I got definitely got caught up in my head. But wisdom showed up for me in the sense of don't say anything, just shut up and listen. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And it was so bizarre to me because the 2 days that I did with their whole team was like, pardon my French, it was fucking great. I thought they did a great job. And I thought this was going to be an easy call, but it was like so hard. And what I learned was I had one of those no really moments like, oh, wow, no really wisdom can show up for you. And I also learned that not everybody is ready for change. That's my takeaway. You could put it in front of them and they're not ready for change. And what I think I got caught up in my head in the sense that I just knew in my heart of hearts that if they spent like 2 days with Win, how much of a positive impact it would have on their lives, their businesses, and their careers. And they turned their noses up at it. And I was like, wow. And then just saying this to you now, I'm realizing this now is I'm so grateful that I can see the usefulness of it for myself. That this diamond in front of me is obvious. Like, oh, this is the most valuable thing I've ever seen ever. I'm not
Mm,
going to pass it up for any amount of money.
yeah.
And it was really wild. And so after that conversation, I raised my feet. I'm like, oh yeah, like I like this is good, you know. And it was like you don't
Yeah.
know this one, but after that, watching you handle that call, it gave me a lot of confidence to handle future calls where I could just sit and hold my own and not be bothered so much by people who didn't believe in it. And something did change. Another thing that changed for me after that call was I made myself a promise that if I ever found myself needing to convince anybody of the value of what I do, I use the word convince, like I'm really like trying to show them how good this is for them. I don't want to work with that person or that organization because I don't ever want to be on the end of on the side where I have to convince anything of anybody. And since then, work has been a lot smoother because I've stopped trying to convince, like go, like stop trying to go find people to convince. I just naturally going back to our previous calls, listen in like, oh, this person, this organization is ripe for a fresh understanding, and that's what it was like for me on that call.
Wow. Thanks for the update. I'm glad it had such a big impact on you as well. Here's what I
Mm,
highlight as well. I just popped into my mind in listening to what you just said. There was more on offer to them than there would have been to us. So the guy who didn't believe that it was possible to have an unburdened mind, if he'd have paid us each $100,000 per day, right? If he'd have spent 400,000, 200 each for you and I for a weekend, okay? He'd have got more than we got paid. By the way, just in case you're wondering, that was not what we quoted.
yeah.
I'm just using that number just to show, even if it was, it would have been a great deal. For his
Mm,
business, geez, 400K would be nothing compared to what he could achieve if he knew that he could just be present and not have a burdened mind. Now that matters to me for one very real reason, that I don't want to have outcome, whether they say yes or no on my mind, that it matters to me. I do not want it to matter to me. I love it when people say yes, because I know what it will do for them. Not that it matters so much to me. Now, I've got bills to pay. I've got a mortgage. I'm halfway through paying for a new roof, as you and I have talked about before, you and
Yeah.
I, Nikon. And there's loads of things that money be really helpful for, okay, as well as paying the bills. At the same time, though, for me to know that my life, my well-being, my contentment, my peace of mind has got nothing to do with a client saying yes means all the world, that I don't want to buy into that convincing thing that you talked about, because I know the feeling's off and I must be making something up that isn't there. So I love coming back to out of here and into this wisdom and resilience to know that what's available to them is something that, in my mind, money can't buy. And I'm thrilled to be able to offer it and for people to say yes. I'm thrilled for them more than I'm thrilled for me.
That's brilliant. I love the simplicity of that. And what occurs to me to share as well is looking at the title again, Resilience and Wisdom in Challenging Moments. One thing I'd love for you to take away from this video is knowing where to look and knowing where not to look in challenging moments. Because me habitually in challenging moments, I would habitually just get tighter and tighter and just I need to figure this out. Like I would just throw my intellect at it and figure this out right now. How do I pivot? How do I find a workaround on this guy's, on this client's obnoxiousness or just resistance? And now I know to when I know to let go and to take a step back into a reflective state of mind and just hang out there and wait for insight, or at least look in the direction where insight might be. And that's always a better idea in challenging moments. And anything that's challenging is thought, right? When like if it's
Right.
challenging, it's thought. And if I can see that, then I know that insight is a thought. Like insight is not far off if I can see that challenging is thought. And what also occurs to me is you don't have to get every sale, right? And like Win said earlier, if the outcome is not like if you're not fixed on the outcome, you're good because you'll know there's more on offer here. And for me, we did let that go, right? Like nothing more came of that conversation or sales. And I'm sure when you got more clients after that, I had more clients of that, more opportunities came, life went on. I did not die. I didn't have to like go hide in a hole for the rest of my life because that was like the worst sales call ever. Life goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good to know. I'm really glad you brought that up about if it's challenging, it must be thought.
Yeah.
Because a moment's only challenging in the eye of the beholder, or another way of saying it. If it looks challenging, it's because I have something on my mind that makes it look like a challenge. And when I'm tight, that's the beautiful, wise signal telling me I'm seeing something that isn't there. And I can then go back to exactly what you were saying. Well, my mind relaxes again. I'm back in that curiosity, openness, spacious mind, a relaxed mind, where the conversation will be back to free flowing, even if they are being, I don't know, difficult or arguing with everything I'm saying. The feeling's different, and the best I know to come from is having a relaxed mind, and I come from being of genuine service to them, which is one way of describing this entire program.
Yeah. I love that, Win. And actually, because this is the last video of the series, Win, I'd like you to close us out with something profound. But I know what you want to talk about now because something you just said, I'd like for you to send us off with that. I'd like for you to share a few words about genuine service because to me, that's the heart of falling in love with sales. At the heart of falling in love with sales is falling in love with genuine service because sales in itself is a service. The end result of that conversation might be a product or service, but sales in itself is a genuine service. So
Right.
I'm gonna let you take it away from here, Wayne.
Well, I mean, given what you just said, I think I'd have hoped to have said what you said. I'd have hoped to been able to say that because I think what you just said was lovely and true, profound, and real. The only other thing to say is that to help get somebody what they want in life, sales is a necessary part of that process. It just helps that all this is, and an hour ago, at the time of recording, I had the meeting, very first meeting with somebody, and we reached an agreement, and it was so easy because okay, they wanted to buy, they had an idea about what they wanted in life, and it got a lot clearer for them in our conversation. And then after 45 minutes, reached a really good plan that's great for both of us of what to do. But I just helped them buy. I wasn't pushing. And it's just this part of it. Well, it might seem icky. The truth is, it's a great way, well, or it's a part of the process to enable them to get the life they've always dreamed of. That's how I see it.
All right. Thank you for hanging out with us for 4 weeks. This has been great. And stay in touch. And I hope to see you in future programs with either on my programs or in Win programs. And take care of yourself. And if you have any questions, you can actually write them in the comments of the YouTube video and I will come back and check them. And Win can come and check them as well. So bye for now. All right. Bye.